Good morning, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever it is. Whatever it is from where you're tuning in at, whether it is night, morning, whatever. Even if I don't even know if it's going to be Wednesday when you're tuning in because we have it where you can tune into the replay. So wherever it is, whatever it is, it's all good. So I am a bit late. I'm 5 minutes late. My computer was not working again. It has been brought to my attention that I need a new computer. So that's what I am. That's what I think I'm going to give myself for Christmas because this is just getting ridiculous. Like literally, it turned on. And then as soon as it turned on and I was navigating through, it turned right back off. I'm like, okay, great. All right, let's work through this. It's not the first time that has happened. So, but we're here, and that's all that matters. So I am glad to be here with y'all today, this morning for me. And I am glad to have you here. So what we are going to talk about is surrender. And I was literally asked this question maybe a week ago or a week and a half ago, something like that. And I saw it, but I didn't respond to it as soon as I saw it because I wanted to think about it for a second. And then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I need to pray on this. I need to pray on this because I'm not sure how to answer it. And the question was, okay, well, surrender, that's great. But how does that look? How do I do it? And why I couldn't immediately respond is because I had that same question, right? And it's not as easy as, at least for me, it wasn't as easy as it sometimes comes across. And sometimes when I talk about it, it's just like, oh, yeah, just need to give up, let go, do this, do that. And it's like, okay, it sounds great. The whole thing that you're talking about, surrendering and what it can do in your life and this, that, and other. And yeah, I want to do that, but I don't know how to do it. I didn't know what it looked like in real life application. Like you've got this concept that you're talking about, but how do you apply it to real life? How can I let go of something that I really, really, really want? Does that even make sense? Why would I want to let go of something that I really want? So I had to think about it. And I had to pray on it. And what I got it wasn't even like intentionally. Like I had thought on it. Um and I think at that point I wasn't really thinking about it anymore, but it came back and it came back in a verse that I ended up reading that just came out of nowhere. But I ended up reading it and I'm like, well, why is that verse sticking out? Like I don't understand. And so I just thought on it and it ended up connecting with what I was trying to figure out. And it brought clarity to what I actually wanted to say. So before we get into that, we got to get into prayer. So I am going to open up in prayer. All right. Dear Lord, thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for breath in our lungs. Thank you that we've made it another day. Thank you that we're here and we are able to walk in our calling and to fulfill our purpose. Thank you for the connection that you have with us. Thank you for the fact that you are living inside of us. And because you are living inside of us, there is absolutely nothing that we can't do. And there's absolutely nothing that is impossible for us because it says in the Bible, all things are possible with you. And if we're connected with you, and if you are inside of us, that means that nothing is impossible for us. There's nothing off limits. Therefore, we are limitless. And I thank you that that is the truth. And I thank you that we are becoming more able to fully step into that as each day passes, Lord. As each day passes, we grow. As each day passes, we learn. And despite the mistakes that we may make, thank you for the grace that you extend. Thank you for being the example of the grace that we're supposed to extend to ourselves, not only ourselves, to others. Lord, thank you for being the example for us in everything and just how we are to move. Thank you for just everything that you've done. Thank you for our families. Thank you for our homes. Thank you for our cars. Thank you for the fact that we have money in the bank. Thank you for the fact that even if we do not have a job to go to, thank you for the fact that we are sustained for today, because that is where we're going to live in the realm of today. We don't worry about tomorrow. We don't think about the past. We worry about, well, not worry. We think about today. We are in the realm of today, and that's where we stay. So Lord, thank you for the fact that we are sustained and we are able to live within today. Thank you for the fact that we can cast all of our anxieties on you. Any worries that we have, thank you that we can cast them on you. Thank you that we for the ability to just lay them at your feet and just to be there and to be present in today without having to worry about tomorrow or the past. Thank you for the ability to surrender. Thank you for us even being here talking about surrender and how we can apply that, not tomorrow, not the next day, but as soon as we get off this call, actually, while we're on this call, we can apply these same concepts. And thank you for speaking through me. Thank you for using me. Thank you for using the people who are on this call, who are on here live, and who will be tuning in on the replay. Thank you for them. Thank you for their attention. Thank you for using them and working through them and just allowing them to see that they are valuable. Thank you for showing them that they have a calling, they have a duty, they have a purpose, and you would like to use them as well. Thank you for using them as instruments in building up your kingdom, Lord. And I just ask you to bless everyone that's on this call and that will be joining. Just bless their families, bless them, bless their children, bless their children's children, bless their children's spouses, Lord. Just extend a hand on every single person of their family and outside of their family, extending to their friends, every person that they come in contact with. Please bless them and be able to bless them through them. Lord, please use them as I know that you can, and allow them to serve the people who you've called for them to serve in the mightiest way, Lord. Amen. All right. That was long, but phew. Okay. So like I was saying, right? So I had a verse that I came across, and it was Zechariah 4:17, right? And what it says is, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. And I read that and I was like, okay, I've heard the song, um, and I'm like, I really, for some reason, that really resonated with me, right? And I just kept reading it. I'm like, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Okay, not by might, not by my power, but by my spirit. And I'm like, it's doing something, but I'm not sure like why my eyes just kept stopping there. And literally, I could not read any further. So I ended up reading the whole chapter, and then I had to go back and read the third chapter. Then I was like, okay, I need to read the second. Then I ended up reading the first, all the way through the fourth. And I just kept reading it over and over and over and over again. And Then something clicked in my head and was like, that is surrender. That's surrender. Knowing that, one, it's only so far that we, in our power, I guess, and our power, can take us. And realizing that, but not only realizing that, but being okay with that. And understanding that it's not just us at work. And it's not where we have to take everything on our shoulders and shoulder all the weight. That's not what it is. It's that we can cast our cares, exactly what I prayed about. We can lay it at God's feet and say, hey, this is what it is. This is what I'm dealing with. And not only are the things that you're dealing with, as far as, real life concerns and worries and anxieties and all those things that that happen, but the things that you want. So a lot of times it's hard to surrender. It's sometimes easier to surrender the things that we're worrying about, or the things that have gone wrong and seem outside of our control. So, for example, let's just say, like, I'll use me, right? I can't use anybody else, obviously, but let's use me for example. When my daughter was in the hospital, right? That was outside of my control. I literally had her. And within hours of me having her, they came in, the doctors came in, like swarming in, and was like, we have to take her. Like, for what? Like, what is going on? And I really didn't get any type of, like, they didn't tell me what was going on, what was happening, what they needed her for. They just came in and took her. And you can imagine being a new mom, because that was my firstborn, being a new mom. I literally had her for a second, and then they're coming in, and you see it on their face that something is wrong, but yet you're not telling me. So there goes their worry strikes, fear strikes, anxiety strikes. But once we started learning what was going on, and as I guess, the diagnoses um, started getting worse of what we were hearing and what could possibly go wrong, and all these other things, you know how it is when you're I guess when you're in the hospital. It's, I don't know if they've been trained to tell you the worst case scenario, but that's usually what happens. And so we're getting all this bad news, right? I'm like, what in the world just happened? Like, what is going on? And in that moment, and in those moments, the only thing that I could do was surrender. Even though at that time, I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I didn't know. I just knew that this is outside of my control. I cannot do anything for her but to be present, but to love on her, but to be here, but to make sure that everything that they're saying that they are going to do, they're doing. That's the only thing that I could do. I could only do what I could do. I could only control myself. I could only control how I showed up. I could only control what I did when I showed up. That was it. So that's what I did. I did not choose to stress over it. I did not choose to continue to worry about it. I didn't choose to allow that to keep me down, because I knew in those moments I knew who I needed to be when I showed up. So I showed up with faith. And a large part of that was because my husband was the person who exhibited that for me. I saw how he showed up, and surrender was like in his back pocket. It was just like, look, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm here and I trust you in this. and I'm going to pray and I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to come back and I'm not going to pick it back up. I'm going to leave it at your feet and I'm just going to be here and I'm going to be present with her. And I'm going to do what I need to do. And that's how he carried it. So I was able to see that in real time and in real life and just like, okay, well, that's how I'm going to be. So it wasn't where I actually knew what I was doing at that moment, but I was able to do it. And so I carry that, and and I carry that to when we took the bar, right? I carry that, and in different stages of my life, it's looked different, but the same application is necessary and is needed. But I say that to say that in that moment, it was a little bit easier for me to let go because I couldn't do anything. Like physically could not do anything. Even if I went out and I ran a million miles, it would not change a thing. If I worked super hard, it would not change a thing. None of my efforts were going to do it. So I really didn't have, and I say this, you do have a choice because you can either sit there and worry about it and you can stress over it and you can, choose to allow that to keep you down, or you can choose otherwise. So, yes, in that I chose what I was going to do, but there was nothing physically that I could do to change what was happening in front of me. So, that was almost like a forced surrender, per se, um, physically, not emotionally. So, emotionally, I chose to surrender a different way, but physically, it was forced. So, when it comes to like work related things, right? And for me, I always talk about the vision, right? The vision that I have and how I have strived to be able to make that happen. And it could also be where you want a baby, right? And we really, really want to have a baby. Me and my spouse, we've been talking about it. We've been, asking God for it, and it's just not happening. But I know that I am supposed to be a mom. I know that I'm supposed to be a dad, and it's just not happening. And we've got this thing, whether it is your vision, whether it is your career, whether it is kids, whether it's a house, whether it's whatever it may be, you've got this tangible thing that you really, really want. And it is just not happening. You are not seeing the fruits of your labor. You are not seeing it come to fruition. You aren't even seeing an ounce of it. It's just like, I'm not seeing anything. How in that moment do you let go? How in that moment do you surrender? How in that moment do you detach from the outcome that you want? Because that's what's necessary in surrender is detaching from the outcome. So, how do you do that when it's something that I really, really want? How do you just let go? And the thing is that I had to realize for me, I thought of surrender as a weakness. You know how when you're in battle, if you surrender, you're giving up. You're literally like, I just give up. I wave the white flag. I'm done. You can have it. I let go. I'm gone. And that's normally how we define letting go or surrender. So when we think about the things that we actually really, really want, and we're talking about surrendering those things or letting go of those things, we automatically start thinking that. It's like, wait a minute, but I really want this to happen. So if I let go, if I surrender this, if I wave the white flag, then that means that I'm not going to get it. That means that literally I'm throwing it away, and now I'm walking away. I'm walking away from it. And I want you guys to know that that is not the case. That's not what I'm saying here. So when I'm saying to let go and to surrender, it's literally detaching yourself from the outcome. So we have the outcome, and I have these steps, right? So I want y'all to write these things down. So the first one is that we have to identify what it is that we actually want. What is it that we want? So we know in Habakkuk, it says, write the vision, make it plain. This is what you've got to do with whatever it is that you want. What is that desired outcome? Is it that you want to have a baby? Is it that you want to have, this house that you've been envisioning in your mind? Is it that you want to have this career that you've always wanted, or that the vision that you've been given since you were little about this career field, and you being a doctor, or you being a lawyer, or you being a teacher, whatever it is it that? Whatever it is, write it down and make it plain and make it clear. Be as clear as you can possibly be about what it is that you want. And then, so we're going to realize the outcome through writing it down, right? And then at that time, you're going to pray about it. You've got to now take that thing and you take it to God in prayer, and just like, okay, this is something that I want. This is something that I really want. But I'm laying it at your feet because I trust you with it. I trust you more with it than I do myself. And I trust that you will guide me to this. I leave this to you. And you leave that there. And that, in that moment, that is how you are now starting to step away, right? And saying, I want this outcome, but I'm detaching myself from trying to make it happen, and detaching myself from trying to control the way it happens. You're detaching yourself essentially from the how. So I'm giving you this, I'm laying this at your feet, and I trust you with the how to make it happen. I trust that you're going to guide me and lead me. And I trust that you are moving things around for this to happen. And in doing that, we also have to be comfortable with, and this is what I don't even know if I put that down, but no, I didn't. But you have to be patient, right? Patience is wrapped up in surrender. So when we're surrendering what it is that we want, we're surrendering the outcome. It's where now we have to have that patience in knowing that we surrendered the how, right? So it's not where we're constantly pounding the ground and trying to make things happen. And we're worrying about the fact that we haven't had our child yet. We're worrying about the fact that the doctor told us that, it's not likely, with your age, it's not likely that you're going to have a child, or with your makings, it just doesn't seem like you're going to be able to have a child. Whatever it may be, we're not worrying ourselves about what is happening on the outside. No matter the situation, no matter what it's looking like, even if we're not seeing that thing happen, or happening, or unfolding the way that we would want it to unfold, it's not knocking us off, because we know that we laid this at God's feet. And we know that as soon as we did, He was working things out as soon as we laid it down. We know that that is what He's doing behind the scenes. So we have to, one, have that patience, and then two, have that understanding that even if it's not happening right now, so there's only three answers, right? So There is yes, there is not right now, and there is no. But that no, you know that that no means no to this because I have something better. I have something else planned for you because we know that God only wants the best for us. So there's three things. There's three answers that we know that we could possibly get and understanding what those answers mean. So we need to do that. And the other thing that I want you to know is that when we're talking about surrender, what I thought is that it was automatic. So as soon as I lay it at his feet, then I can walk away and I will no longer think about it. It won't ever consume my thoughts. It will be something that I can just relinquish and I don't have to deal with it anymore. It's just like it's in your hands and there we go. It's done. It's out of my head, out of my hands, and out of my life. I'm leaving the outcome to you. But that's not necessarily how that happened, at least for me and a lot of people that I speak with. That's not how it happens. It's where I leave it at God's feet, and then tomorrow it's coming back. Obviously, I've taken it back and I'm rethinking it. I'm worrying about it. I am concerned about it. I am anxious about it, whatever it may be. And that's what's happening. So, in those moments, that is not the time. And you know, I'm going to say, that is not the time to shame yourself, to blame yourself, to wonder why in the world you keep thinking about this thing when you thought that you gave it up. It's not the time to sit there and say, well, I am not good at surrendering. Obviously, I'm not. I'm not doing this thing right. I'm not doing this. That is not the time to do that. Realize that that happens to all of us. And in those moments, it's the perfect opportunity to now take it and say, oh, wait a minute, I have it again. Let me lay it back at your feet. It's a continuous process. And this is another reason why we have to be patient. So, knowing that I can leave it and then I am, if I start feeling anxious, and this is why we need to be in tune with our emotions. This is going to go back to that. So, no, coming back and saying, I am feeling, I'm feeling off. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling worried. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm starting to think about this thing and thinking about it obsessively, right? So, whether it's, I don't know. So, let's say for me, right? Um, of where I'm reaching my vision and striving in that moment, in that time when I was striving for it and I'm working really hard and I'm doing all this stuff. If at that time I was really in tune with my emotions and understanding that, Christina, you are feeling burnt out, you are feeling overwhelmed, you are feeling frustrated because you took it back. You took what you laid at God's feet, you took it all back and you just put it right back on your shoulders. You need to relinquish it again. You need to live and surrender again. You need to surrender again. So in those moments when you're feeling that way, when you're feeling off, when you're not feeling light anymore, you're feeling heavy, that is an indication of you that it's indicating to you that you took back the weight. You took it back, and now you need to lay it back at his feet. And that can be where it's a day or happening on a daily basis. This can be moment by moment, like literally, especially if you're just starting this, right? So it may be where in a moment I am laying it down, and then the next hour I picked it back up. But the first I guess this first step in this is acknowledging the fact that I picked it back up. So that is huge. If you're able to now detect, okay, wait, something's not right. I'm feeling heavy. I'm feeling heavy. I'm not feeling light. Something's wrong. That's the first step. And then that directs you to where, okay, now I need to start leaving it. I need to leave it. I need to put it back down. And we know how to do that because that's how we started. We identified with what we want. I mean, we identified what we wanted. We wrote it down. And then we prayed about it. We left it at God's feet. And then we detach from the outcome and we say, okay, well, God's got it. He's working it out. And I am going to do what I need to do. And whatever it is that I'm led to do, I'm here to do it. But what I'm not going to do is worry about the outcome, worry about the how, worry about the when, the things that I cannot control, because you cannot control it, no matter how hard you work. And that's what I can, again, use my situation. No matter how hard I worked, no matter how much I strived, it did not make my vision come any sooner than what it was supposed to, right? If anything, it might have delayed it a little bit because of the fact that I was working within my own power, because of the fact that I was taking it on my shoulders and saying, well, I got this weight. I trust myself more than I trust you. So I am going to lead my way, even though I'm the one that's blindfolded. I'm going to be out here seeking, and if I keep seeking, I'm going to find my way, no matter how long it takes, which it doesn't make any sense when you think about it, because if anything, it's going to take you longer. Like, it's not to say that you're not going to get there and you aren't going to have the thing, but either it's going to take you longer, or by the time you get there, you're going to be exhausted. It's not going to feel as great as it would have felt if you would have just laid it. You're going to have less energy. It's different things that you're going to be missing at that point when you try to do things by yourself versus you giving it up and you relying on God. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to write it down. We're going to figure out what it is that we want. Then we're going to pray about it. We're going to leave it at God's feet. Then that's when you are starting the process of detaching from the outcome and reminding yourself about not worrying about the how and the when, and knowing that it's already being worked out. It's already being worked out. And just just telling yourself that it's being worked out as we speak, as I'm walking. It's already happening. What I've asked for, what I've laid at his feet, it's already being worked out. So we're good. So, and that's the fourth thing, is remaining consistent in that, of where we are now identifying that we're off, something is off. We've taken back this weight because we feel differently. So now we need to revisit the numbers, right? You don't have to revisit 1, but 2 through 4, we need to revisit that. We need to now go back in prayer and leave it at his feet again. We need to start detaching ourselves again from the outcome. This is a process. This is the process. And that's how it looks in real life. It is you being able to do that and you being able to remain consistent in it. The consistency is the key. In understanding that this is going to be a process of where I'm going back and forth. It may not be where I just lay it at his feet and then boom, I have fully surrendered and that's just it. That's the end of my process. That might not be the case for you. And to understand that that's okay. So when we're thinking about surrender, we've got to think about, and I'm going to go back to Zechariah, right? So not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. And I want you to know. So um basically what was happening was that there was a temple that needed to be rebuilt. There were some issues in the past that were faced, but now we're being called to rebuild the temple, right? And in a dream, it was where Zechariah saw, and I'm gonna read it, so I have it pulled up. So in a dream, he saw a lampstand, all of gold, and it had a bowl on top of it, and yet it was like it. And I try to imagine it in my head, but all I could really see was a whole lot of oil, right? Because it had like all these lamps up under, and then these wicks, and the bowl needed to supply the oil for these lamps. So it was like, oh, you need a lot of oil for that. But the thing that that really stood out to me, right, was the fact that one, you needed a lot of oil, and two, in this passage, right? So Zechariah 4, this is where I'm reading from. He says, good morning, good morning. This continuous supply of oil is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel, saying, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord of hosts. What are you, O great mountain of obstacles before Zerubbabel, who will rebuild the temple? You will become a plain. You will become a plain. So, and then they have in parentheses, insignificant. So here we are. We've got this continuous supply of oil that needs to happen. And that's what he saw in his dream, right? So we've got this bowl that is the source of the oil, but it's supplying all of these lamps. And what God was saying in that moment is that, hey, we know that this task is a task, right? It's something that is, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. You're talking about rebuilding a temple that before, like I said, we had some issues. So you're tasked with a lot. And he is saying, I am that continuous supply of oil. Whatever it is that you need, I am giving it to you. And then it goes so far to say, and I'm going to read this. Well, I'm not going to read it again, but what are you? And I am, because I want you, when those things happen and when it comes back up and you're starting to worry and you're starting to be anxious, I want you to say the same thing. What are you, oh great mountain of obstacles, right? You will become a plain. So we've got these big old mountains that sometimes we are looking at. So these things that seem outside of our control, these things that we're worried about, I don't know how this is going to happen. I know that I want it. I want what's on the other side of that mountain, but there is a mountain in the way that I am seeing that I'm like, I don't know if I can I don't know if I can cross that thing. I don't know if I'm gonna make it up. Am I gonna make it down? I don't know what's on the other side of it, really. I don't know what's in the middle of it. I don't know what's at the top of it. I don't know what I'm about to face. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know when this is going to happen. How long is it going to take? All these different things that we're thinking about, and we're looking at the mountain. And God is like, look, you don't even have to sit there and worry about that mountain. I am going to make it a plain. So that huge mountain that you've got, that you're looking at because you're working and operating in your own strength, is going to keep looking like a mountain as long as you are bearing the weight. But once you relinquish that weight, that's when it becomes a plain. So not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. The things that you are needing, that continuous supply of oil, that will be supplied when you relinquish it, when you let go, when you understand that you need something more, when you understand that, okay, I've tried and I've tried and it's not working. And I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I want this thing, but I'm trusting you with this thing. I'm leaving it to you. I'm leaving it at your feet because I trust you. And that's how I'm able to step away and still want it, still desire it. It's still something that I ask for, but I'm detached from the way that it's going to happen. So that is we all, I mean, I'm sure that if you look back far enough in your life, there has been a moment in your life that you have surrendered. There is something that you have done, some situation that you've been in. There's something that you can reach back and say, okay, well, that is a moment that I did surrender. And look at what you did. What were you doing? How were you feeling? Those are all important things to be able to now take and apply that to your life now, and you surrendering whatever it is that you want now in this moment. We want to be, those things happen for a reason, right? And it's not for us to go through those things, be in that time and be in that surrender stance, and for us now to get here to where we kind of forget that that was the case, and we're now trying to figure it out, and we're starting from ground zero. It's not to start from ground zero, it's now to reach back. That's why those things happen. And to be cognizant of the fact that, wait a minute, I've done this before. I do know how to do this. It was a different area before, but that's okay. I can take what it is that I did and I can move it over to my current circumstance. And in that, I can start the surrendering process. So within that, I want you guys to know that when we're talking about surrendering, and when we actually do start the process of surrendering, that is how we're able to expedite the excuse me, the learning, right? The learning in the process, the growth in the process, because you've got to think about it like this. We are no longer focused on making that thing happen. Do you know how much time and energy is wasted in trying to make something happen? So when you now divert that time and energy and into believing that, oh, this is already done, this is going to happen, it's no problem. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to control what I can control, and I am going to go where I'm being led. So now the burden that was on me becomes less and becomes light and becomes easy. Y'all get what, my yoke is light, right? it's easy. Those things were said in the Bible for a reason, right? So that's when it becomes that way of where I I am now I'm 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 feeling light. The time and energy that I spent trying to make that happen now can be spent in my growth. Now I'm able to see more than I was able to see before, because before you're focused on making it happen. You're not even thinking about the things that are happening outside and that are happening inside that you can now learn from. The situations that you're being placed in that may be opposite of what you would like, you're in that situation and you're fighting against it. And you're like, I've got to make this thing happen. I don't know why I'm in this situation. It's not working. So I've got to work even harder to make it work. You're doing those things, but you're missing the fact that you're in this situation for a reason. And it's your duty to find out what is that reason, not to now push against it and try to make it not happen because it's already happening. It's happening. You are in that moment. The resistance is not going to do anything but bleed you dry of energy. So now, when we're taking that away and we are now diverting that energy and that time, not in resisting, but in focusing on what there is to learn, how can I grow, and what are you saying to me? I am telling you that the thing that you want, the thing that you're desiring, the thing that you're supposed to be leaving at God's feet, when you actually do this, work through this process, and you do it continuously, of where you're constantly laying it down, you're laying it down. Whenever you feel like you picked it back up, you're laying it back down. And you're allowing yourself to be present and in the moment, and not so focused on making things happen. That's when it starts to happen. It's so weird that of how that works. Like, once you let go, it starts to happen. But that's how it happens. That's how it happens. So I want y'all to start that surrender process now. Start that surrender process today. And if you have more questions, or you're like, look, this is the thing, and because of this specific situation, I am just not sure of how I am supposed to surrender this. It's just not making, like, I understand in other ways, other situations, other circumstances, I understand how you can do it, but I'm having trouble surrendering in this particular area of my life. Hit me up. Let me know. Let me know. So I'm here. I'm here. But I'm gonna go to the comment. So, walking by faith and not by sight. Yes. Yes. That's that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. So, in this, it has to be, and I don't know, y'all, am I delayed? Because when I'm looking down, I'm looking at my camera when I'm looking straight. But when I'm looking down, I'm seeing that it's delayed. But let me know. I don't know. Hopefully, y'all have been able to hear me and see me. I didn't ask. So hopefully that's been the case. But yes, essentially it is faith. It is faith when you're laying it down. It's when you're saying, okay, I am detaching from the outcome. I leave this at your feet. I trust you. You are having faith that God is going to be working in your behalf. You're having faith that this thing is already in the works. You're having faith that this thing is already going to happen. And you're walking in that. Instead of trying to make it happen, instead of trying to control the situation, you're now relinquishing it in faith, through faith. That's what it is. Leave it with him. Yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to read this. In denying yourself and carrying your cross and having faith, he is going to give you everything spiritually to carry it with. Focus on him through his spirit. People have to know his spirit is in them before they can focus on him. Denying self for his sake is surrender. Crucifying ourselves spiritually is surrender. Following Jesus is surrender. So he is going to give you everything spiritually to carry it with. I like that because it really, that is essentially what is happening. So when we go back to this verse, right? Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. And yeah, and in saying that, he is going to be that continuous source of oil, right? That is pouring into you. That is exactly what is being said here, right? So he's going to give you everything that you need. Um, and I like how you said spiritually too. So because a lot of times that we think that we need things that are outside of us, and everything that we do need is already inside of us, right? So God placed everything that you need, that you needed on this journey inside of you. It's already inside. It's nothing that you need to look outside for. It's nothing that you need to envy others for. It's nothing that you had to wish that you had, because you already have it. You have it. So the thing that God does is lock arms with you, right? He's locking arms with you. He's got your back. He's got your sides. He's like, look, we're going to do this. We are going to do this. And so he's giving you the things that you need to be able to go through this journey. You already have those things, but he is capable of pulling those things out and magnifying those things, right? And being your guide, being the person who keep, or I always say person, but not person, but being the thing that keeps you up and holds you up when you feel like you about to fall back. He's there. So in that, just like y'all, just relinquishing the thing, whatever it is that you are wanting the most, whatever it is that you are seeking the most, whatever it is that has your mind, leave that. That's the thing that you want to let go of. That's the thing that you want to leave at his feet. That's the thing that you want to trust him with. That's the thing that you want to walk away from, detach from. That's the thing that you're spending most of your energy and time trying to figure out how it's going to happen, when your energy and your time needs to be spent elsewhere. So let it go. Let it go. But like I say, y'all, if you have any questions, if you are having a hard time applying it to your real life circumstance, let me know. I am available. You can DM me. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get to the DMs because it's sometimes a lot of them, but you can do it. Do it. And I promise that I will get back to you. And we'll talk about it. All right. So I want you guys to have an amazing day. I don't know what happened, but our I don't know. It's 6:58. I'm like, the time went by fast. And my computer, I want y'all to know that my computer, although it has been charged this whole entire time, it's at 2%. How is that? And it charged all last night. I need a new computer. So bear with me, y'all. I am going to get one. I'm going to get one. Just bear with me. So, yes, y'all know, I haven't said that for a while. Is this coming up? Oh my goodness. My Uh-oh. Okay. My computer is tripping. So yeah, I gotta go because this thing is totally tripping. But the how is usually not my business. The how is not your business. It ain't none of your business. You know, I used to say that all the time, and I gotta bring that back. That's none of your business. The how is none of your business. So stick to the things that are your business, and the things that are your business are the things within your control, which is you. That's it. That's it. So I'm going to leave it there. I don't know what is going on with my computer, but hopefully I am still being seen and being heard. But I'm going to let y'all go. I hope that you guys have an amazing day and crush it at work, in your business, at your house, with your family, with yourself, with your relationship with God. I hope that you're crushing it in every single area. And if you aren't, identify which areas that you need more and go ahead and do what you need to do. All right. I will talk to y'all soon. I will respond to everybody in the comments. And I'll see you next Wednesday at the same time, 6 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you then. Bye.